in my opinion, that Kamala really has to work through and work out of if she is going to be a more holistically palatable candidate. If we just kind of sum up, just not her, but just even the Biden campaign, it wasn't necessarily, for me, it was a lackluster campaign, the first one. And it was kind of like, well, this is the only thing we have right now to kind of defeat blah blah blah. And you remember when he won, he said, "Oh, I black people, I'm going to, put it down for you," and da 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 da. And then somewhere between this and now, Kamala kind of like was there but not there.
Oh yeah, they put her in the
So,
back. They put baby in the corner. They put
oh
baby in the corner for a very long time.
yeah,
Oh, and this is another thing that she's gonna have to answer for, which she should have a great answer for it. And again, this is what I talk about when I say Democratic messaging is trash, because Republican can push their lies better than Democrats can push their truths, right?
mm.
Don't tell no lies about me. I won't
Gonna
tell no
tell no
truth
truth
about
about you.
you.
Let's embark on the Ark Republic to hear current news that's published. More than gossip and chatter, covering current affairs that matter. We talk issues with professional views, all keeping you in queue. We wanted a higher vibe for these days and times to free the voices and minds. Reporting the sign of the times so all can build. Let's shine, yeah.
Greetings, what up, wherever you are situated in the universe. And oh my goodness, we have a star. Who is here? We have Mr. Dame Crawford, who is a musician and an activist and a political analyst. How you doing, Dame?
I'm doing really well. It's good to be back. It's been a while, but once this news broke, I knew we had to get back on that Art Republic train and get this thing rolling and talk about this.
Oh my gosh. As we say, it has been 50, 11 million Sundays since I've seen you. So it
Right.
is so good to see you. We have a lot to talk about, and we're talking about the all things politics. But before we start, so if you guys don't know Dame Crawford, Dame entered into the political discussion during the pandemic with Dr. Sharice Janae, and we were a trio. And I don't know if you remember this, but we talked about the Biden election or the campaign back in 2019, 2020, and we made some predictions. And my prediction was, I remember my prediction. Do you remember your prediction?
I don't remember mine. What was mine?
I don't know. Okay,
I
but my prediction was that he wasn't going to make the full 4 years. My
Oh,
prediction was that he wasn't going to make it and he was going to bequeath it over to
yes.
uh,
Okay, so now I
Kamala.
remember. And my prediction was that he would make it and he would go to the second term and give it to Kamala.
Uh-huh. And Sharice's was he gonna thug it all the way out. He's not giving up Nathan. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting. I think it's a combination of kind of like all three because what the channels are saying is that he didn't want to give it up.
No.
He wanted to stay in the race, but because of failing health, he had to give it up. And he then does endorse Kamala Harris to actually vie for the nomination. She is not yet the Democratic nominee. She is still in the running because she has not acquired all the delegates needed. So I wanted to talk about this moment because you being from California, specifically LA, and I'm being from LA, we know Kamala before she was the vice president. But I
Right.
wanted, but I wanted to just initially, what are your initial thoughts on what happened in the last several days?
Okay, so few things, right? Because there's a few different angles to this. This is a very nuanced and layered onion that we're dealing with right now and what's going on. So in order to have the full conversation, we have to kind of talk about all the things, right? So the first thing is the debate, as bad as it was, that wasn't just like that was the reason. Like they was like they've been looking for an opening because we've been hearing whispers about him being too old. We've been hearing whispers about him, and because people say, "Oh, you saying that old people can't do the work?" No, it's not about the age. It's about what he's doing and what he looks like, what he sounds like. And they're like, "Oh, he has a speech impediment." Like, no, we always know that Biden had a speech impediment, but what we're seeing his energy, the way he's talking, the way he's putting together sentences, the way his voice has gotten weak over the past. Like he's not the same guy that ran in 2020. He's just not. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, they couldn't hide it anymore. I think that debate really, really exposed them because there's no way Donald Trump should have been able to run circles around him by literally just yelling out lies, and he couldn't combat it. Like you could tell it was looking like Biden just was like he couldn't figure it out, like he couldn't beat it. And that, along with, I will say, along with the new rules of the debate, where it's basically like, oh, you only get this much time to respond, and we'll cut your mic off, da 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 da. So a lot of stuff I'm sure he didn't get to respond to the way he liked, but the things that he did when he got a chance to respond, I don't think it was like, it didn't give confidence to the voters. Like, because I know that quietly inside, a lot of the Democratic donors had concerns. I know a lot of the lawmakers had concerns, but they were trying to rally behind him. But I think once the public saw that, and I saw the public reaction, and I think the lawmakers also, the Democratic, brain trust probably saw the public reaction. It was like, oh, this is not going to work. We can't hide it. We can't pull this off. You know what I mean? And this is before the assassination attempt, where Trump has made himself a hero. And then there was, after the debate, there was supposed to be a rally that was supposed to make him look better. That was a disaster. Then there was supposed to be an interview with Lester Holt. That was a disaster. It was like piling up. And then I think once George Clooney, who was one of the biggest Democratic donors and fundraisers, was like, I'm holding my money until Joe drops out the race, and he wrote that op-ed. I think that was like the death knell. You know what I mean? And they couldn't no longer fight it. But what I will say is, the problem came when people realized that they didn't only want Biden out, they wanted Biden and Harris out. Because they knew if they got Biden out,
Mm.
that probably meant she would be the presumptive nominee. But you have two factions right now, right? Like, you have the youngers, like Jasmine Crockett's, the AOCs, the Clintons, that side, they're backing, and Biden and his crew, they're backing Harris. But you see, Barack Obama hasn't backed her. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, the old guard, they are not they are not full throated saying we endorse her. They are talking about a candidate will emerge. Who's this candidate's going to emerge? And so, not to get into the weeds of this thing, but their best bet is Kamala Harris right now. That's literally their best bet as a candidate, because one, she raised $50 million in 8 hours yesterday. I think that surprised a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
I think that surprised a lot of people. She raised $50 million in 8 hours. I just talked to a friend of mine who, she does a lot of activism stuff, and she's talking about, there was a Zoom call in California, and I think they said they raised like $4 million on that call with Black women.
Yeah, Dr. Sharice Janae was on the call, and she said that, well, the reports I heard, well, when we did run something on it actually in Arc Republic at press time, the last number that I got was 34,000. But what it ended up being, or the latest report, was 44,000 women. And actually, I tried to get on the call, but it had capacity out. So these
Wow.
were just the people who were able to get on the
On the
call,
call.
on
Okay.
the call. And so from what I understand is that that phone call, not only did it raise money, but it also then got several states to actually release their delegates
Yeah.
to Kamala Harris. So by the
Yeah.
end of the night, she had, a little bit over 500 delegates with the 1986 that she needs, which I also think shocked a lot of people as well,
It did.
because they were like, this battle is going to be a serious uphill climb. So I just wanted to add that. But yeah,
Yeah. And I think, so with that happening, the people who have come out to endorse her, and with I don't know if you've heard this, but one of Nikki Haley's biggest PACs endorsed her. That was a shock. So what I will say, it looks like and feels like it's happening. Harris is going to be one of the biggest wild cards we have ever seen in politics.
wow, that is something I'm really am interested to see exactly how that goes. Because what I hear, uh, there's several things. One, Harris is going to definitely win all the women who are in support of Roe v. Wade, or
Hmm.
that is hands down. But I'm really interested. But there's still a lot, I believe, of things that need to be sorted out in her candidacy and as well as in the Democratic Party. You talked about Schumer and Pelosi and Obama not endorsing Kamala Harris. What does that show in terms of what's going on in the Democratic Party from your perspective?
Well, I think from the perspective of Barack Obama, which sometimes he pissed me off with this, sometimes I think he's always trying to show decorum. So he tries to play the middle of everything. And I think this is not the time to do that. But I think Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, they are those white liberals who don't really understand where their bread and butter comes from. I feel like Nancy Pelosi is of that old guard, and I feel like she wants to control it. And I don't think she wants a woman of color, black woman, whatever you want to call her, black Asian, I don't think she wants her to be the president. I don't think she wants her to be on top of the ticket. But where things get sticky is if she's not on top of that ticket, and they officially changed the Biden campaign to the Harris campaign yesterday on all of the fundraising paperwork. If her name is not on top of that ticket, all that money that they have in their war chest cannot go to whoever else they try to nominate. So they would literally use millions and millions of dollars of donations.
Well, that's it. Yeah, but what you're saying is an interesting point. When Biden was running, the concern after the debate was he was such a weak candidate that he would actually mess up the ticket on the local election.
Yes, yes.
What do you think Harris being on the top of the ticket is going to do now?
I think she helps the downvote. I think she helps the downvote because, like you said, having a woman going against somebody who's against Roe v. Wade, that's going to help shore up a lot of that female base in regards to the women who support Roe v. Wade. I think it's going to help with the progressives who were on the fence because they felt like Joe was too conservative at times, right? And because Joe tried to please everybody, he ended up pleasing nobody with, the things that he would do and the things that he would say because, Joe was always we got to try to keep the moderate, the Joe Mansions happy. And everybody like, we don't need to keep the Joe Mansions happy because that's not the base of the party. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of the issues, and this is where it gets sticky to me when it comes to like the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, the issues were supposedly Joe was too old. He wasn't going to reach the younger vote, and he was going to lose a lot of the black vote. Those were the three things. She literally fixes all of those things, and y'all still saying like y'all want somebody else. But that's why I know this wasn't about just Joe. They didn't want Joe to win because even if Joe won, I think Joe was gonna step down and hand it over to Harris anyway. I think that was the plan anyway. Because I don't think I think he knew he wasn't gonna make it another 4 years. You know what I mean? So I think that was the plan. And I think Pelosi and Schumer knew that was a plan, and they don't like that plan. Because you have never heard in just even protocol, them trying to make the president step down, but then even look over the vice president as the nominee. Like that doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen that way.
What makes Kamala Harris an unsavory candidate for those who cannot come out and stand behind her? What is it, in your opinion?
Well, I won't even give you my opinion. I'll give you what I've been reading and what I've been seeing. So these are the things that people are going to use to say that they don't like her. A lot of black men are under the impression that she arrested a lot of innocent black men for marijuana when she was the AG. So she's
In
going to have to,
California.
in California, she's going to have to contend with that. She's going to have to contend with the conversation she had where she said, she wasn't going to do reparations, and where she said, how would I look saying I'm going to do something specifically for only black people? That clip has already came back up. She's going to have to deal with that. And lastly, which is funny coming from anybody who supports Trump, but the whole like, or she got in the game because she had an affair. That's coming back up. Or they saying she's only the vice president because she hold her way to the top. Sorry, but that's what they're saying. I'm just, so these are the things that she's gonna have to contend with, and these are the things she's gonna have to answer for. And these are the things I think that will make people feel like she's not for black folks, feel like she's the unsavory candidate, and make them feel like she's untrustworthy.
Well, another thing, those are really good points. I mean, And the truth of the matter is, there is not the third one. Well, there there's evidence to substantiate some, what people are talking about, which was the thorns of her candidacy. Particularly, I don't know if this is going to come up, but there was a case. Well, when she was, I don't know if she was the AG or before. What was her position before that? But she had this rule where you would go to jail if your child had too many truancies.
Truancies, yeah.
And there was a woman who was arrested, but come to find out, the daughter had sickle cell. And when the woman went to jail, I forgot her name because I really tried to get an interview from her. When the woman went to jail, she lost her job, which then, of course, ended up losing her housing, which is very easy to do. We're talking about California, where the rents are already exorbitant. And during the pandemic, because I followed the woman, and I got to pull her name, the daughter actually ended up having like several massive strokes or massive heart attacks. But the frustration, as I read it from the parent, was is that she was a political pawn. Not one, she was the scapegoat for when Harris was in office, but she became the political pawn in terms of talking about discussion of Harris's leadership. But I think another thing that Harris is going to have to contend with is that her stance on Gaza,
Yeah.
and Ukraine,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, which has been, I think, one of the things to see exactly where she stands in the global politics of the matter. So, I wanted to talk more on, do you think that what we see in the social media channels, because social media channels, as we know, are controlled and manufactured, right? Okay.
Right.
As a black man, let's talk about this. As a
Okay.
black man, is there a large of a pushback as it is presented on social media?
Absolutely not. And I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because one of the first tweets I read yesterday was, and I said, this is where we at, and this is wild. One of the first tweets I read was, I feel like white women have learned their lessons losing Roe v. Wade. I think it's the black men we're gonna have to worry about. I said,
Mm.
y'all trust white women to vote before black men, even though the numbers never bear out that way, like ever. I said, now that's nasty work to even jump on here to start that narrative, right? Because that narrative always comes out, right? So even if, because they say, I think they said 10% more black men are supposed to vote for Trump this
Trump.
time
Yeah, that
election.
was like a CNN poll that was taken.
So even
Mm-hmm.
if it's that 10% more, you know what that means? Still like 78 to 80% of black men are voting
Mm-hmm.
Democrat.
Mm-hmm. Well, but and also another thing, I mean, as a academic and a scholar and somebody who used to work in stats, but as somebody who does like samples, who are they talking to? You know what I'm saying? Like, who are they calling? How are they measuring? What is their pool? Who are
And
they
I'm glad you said
sampling?
that. I'm glad you said that because I feel like they're taking anecdotal evidence and lending it to these polls. Because a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the tweets I read, like one tweet said, all the black men I know are not voting Democrat. I'm like, so every single black man I'm like, you know what I'm saying? But and I feel like those are the things, like you said, how social media is manipulated. These are the things I'm seeing in my algorithm,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, well, I know a lot of black men, and the majority of them are probably still voting Democrat. So what does that mean? You know what I
Right.
mean? But like you said, you're a stat junkie. We know that by far and above, black men and black women vote Democrat more than any voter block, more than brown people, more than Asian people, more than white people. You know what I mean? Like their most loyal voting block is black folks. And even
Mm-hmm.
more, they're the tip top of the iceberg of their most loyal voting block is black women, which is why another thing that I've seen on social media is black women saying, try to skip Kamala if y'all want to.
What is that, like a warning, you think?
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Jasmine Crockett said, she said, the only president that I'm going to go out and work for is Kamala Harris. So she said, full stop. try us if you want to.
Oh, you're talking about on her road to be the nominee, to be the
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
the Democratic nominee. Okay,
yeah, to
right,
be the
right.
Democratic nominee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they saying like try to skip over her to be the nominee if you want to. Like, and it was her, a few other of the younger congresswomen, were
Mm-hmm.
basically saying like, y'all know the biggest voting block is black women, and if y'all try to skip over Harris, y'all probably gonna piss them off really
Mm-hmm.
bad.
So I would like to know, you said that the people that you talk to, right? So we get a lot of, and I do know about the channels and how they can produce and present something that is not the everyday reality. But what are the conversations that are going on amongst your male folk, your men folk, about what's going on?
Well,
Like,
what's funny?
and even prior to, was there? I feel that people are more invigorated now.
They are invigorated. I think the emergence of Project 2025 getting more publicity is one of the things that kind of got people back involved and raising
Mm-hmm.
the eyebrow. And one conversation I've been having a lot that I haven't had in a while is people saying, talking about policy more than personality. This is the first time I've been having
Mm-hmm.
more policy conversations and I don't like them because a lot of black folks vote, emotionally. We know that we've had that conversation. They vote with their emotion. They vote with personality, who they like, who they
Mm-hmm.
dislike. Like with Hillary Clinton, it was just like, I don't like her. They couldn't pinpoint what it was, specific policy. They didn't like her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, you can't combat somebody with facts if they just don't like the person because it don't matter at that point. I was talking to a friend of mine Saturday, and he was like, I think I'm gonna vote for Trump this time. He said I didn't vote last time, but I think I'm gonna actually vote for Trump this time because I feel like he's gonna affect my bottom line better. And he starts talking about how he was like a longshoreman, and Biden took away their capacity to have leverage when they were negotiating, when he made them essential workers, so they had to go back to work, and they were like that was right in the middle of us negotiating our new contracts. He said so that jacked up the negotiations because now they made us go back to work, so we didn't have our leverage, And I said, okay, cool. I said, I understand that. And then he was talking about inflation, and the inflation. I said, for sure. And I said, so I would just ask you, what policies do you think Trump is going to put in to help with what you're talking about, with what you're dealing with? You know what I'm saying? I said, I want my people to look more into policy than into people. You know what I mean? Like, because we need to start voting policy in our party anyway. You know,
Right.
we
And as we talked about too, investing in the local elections as well. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? Because this local leadership, I don't know about you, is raggedy.
What? Let me tell you, I
As
told you, local elections is what made me stop talking about politics for 8 months. I knew
these
too much.
local
I knew
quote
too much.
unquote leaders will break your back, your pockets, and definitely your heart.
Yeah,
Right?
seeing behind the curtain a little bit, I realized just how much local elections matter, just how much money is involved in these local elections, and just how much money is supposed to come to our neighborhoods that aren't coming to us because we aren't paying attention.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So those are, I do want to make the statement that those things are very important. And like you said, those, because I feel like those local elections would affect my man's job more than the presidency, right? Those
Well,
those
I
local
mean,
elections would affect the union more than the presidency.
right. And well, there's two questions that you can even ask if I'm glad that you're getting into these discussions, but two questions. Well, what did Trump pass during his presidency that helped with his bottom line?
I asked him that too.
Right.
And he didn't really have an answer. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like a lot of times they don't really have an answer.
And that damn pandemic check wasn't it. Okay. And then the second thing is that what has Trump said in terms of policy in this new presidency?
I asked both those questions, Kaya. I asked both, and he didn't have an answer. I said, so I'm just asking. I said, so go look for it. Go look for it. What do you feel like he passed that was beneficial to you when he was president last time? And
Mm-hmm.
what has he spoke about in terms of policy that you think is going to be beneficial to you in this upcoming term? I said, so you go look for that for yourself and make your own decision. I was like, I'm not here to tell nobody which way to vote. I'm not here to tell nobody which way to lean. I'm here to tell everybody like find out the policies that suit you and vote policy.
Mm-hmm.
because that should be the way that leads you no matter what and no matter who the person is running, because we get so caught up in who the person is running, we forget about things like the Supreme Court. We forget about things about judges being appointed. We forget about those things because those things direct us more directly than the presidency and for a longer time.
Mm-hmm.
So if Trump gets back in, you know he's going to probably make Clarence Thomas and I forgot the other one. Is it
There's two of them that are possibly stepping down in
yeah?
the next presidency. Yeah.
So he'll have two more that he'll make 50-year-old lifetime appointees that are going to be MAGA, not even Republicans, MAGA judges, because there's a difference. Because I feel like we've had Republican judges, we've had Democratic judges, and I feel like the Supreme Court did a decent job. Not the best, but they always did a decent job of being a nonpartisan body. They are now a straight partisan body. When they, gave him full immunity, so he could do anything he wants as president. So now he's going to get two more that will do anything he wants. And one of the biggest parts of Project 2025 is he can fire anybody, on the state level who does not follow his policies, who does not support him. So anybody who does not support him can be fired legally. And he wants to shut down the Department of Education, EOC, like all these things that will affect us more than anybody else. You know what I mean? So I want people to pay attention to that. And because, we talked about with my man, we talked about Project 2025. And he was like, well, Trump said he had nothing to do with that. I said, okay. I said,
And he also said he would pull out. But anyway.
so I sent them some stuff. I was like, look, this is the head of the guy who wrote Project 2025 saying, yes, we expect him to say that because he needs to win. Like we need him to win. And then they said, but look who his vice president is. His vice president is directly from us, directly a guy from the Heritage Foundation. You know what I mean? So it's like, but
And I've been talking to people about this JD Vance. Absolutely problematic.
oh, 100%. 100%. And but
Scary, actually scary.
oh yeah, because he said he doesn't care about a democracy. He wants us to be more like Hungary. And this is a direct quote from him. This is not something that I read. I heard him say it with his own mouth, right? But I think one thing the Democrats did do that was smart. One thing they did do that was smart. They waited till Trump locked in his ticket to make the announcement that Biden was stepping down. Because what happens this time is he went full MAGA with him and his vice president. Him or his people were smart enough last time to know he needed a Pence to get middle America, to get those non-decided voters, to get those people who feel like he's not stable enough. But now he got two Trumps. I think that's gonna not bode well for him eventually, depending on who Harris picks as her VP running mate as well. I think his ticket is gonna look very unstable compared to the Democratic ticket because he's got two radical mega guys this time.
Oh yeah, and that Supreme Court judge, the second one was Alito. So it
Alito,
was Thomas
yes,
and Alito. Yes,
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 that are the ones whose clock is a ticking.
yeah.
So yeah, these are some excellent points. I have another question. I thank you for giving your perspective about what is going on. So, and I hope to see you more on as
You
we.
will, you will,
Okay, good, good.
yeah,
As we
you
we
will.
we are walking across the finish line, because your perspective is definitely sorely needed. What what is the what do you think? We talked about the flaws that Kamala would have, right? But there are any more things that you think that will be thorns or something that she really needs to tackle in these, next, well, I would say month, as she's going to, Democratic National Convention, is
Well,
is within a month.
Well, I think the biggest thing is, and they haven't done a good job at this at all, is running on their record. Because Biden could have won if they would have ran on their record, but they was running on Biden and they was running on I'm not Trump, right? But if he would have ran on their actual record, what they've done as what they've done so far as president and vice president, I think Biden would have been better off. But also I feel like Biden, again, back to us looking like his cognitive, situation is declining, I think he couldn't articulate that, honestly. So I feel like if she can articulate, because there were so many things that me as a person who actually follows politics, I didn't even know they did. I didn't even know they passed. they haven't, and I think, and I attribute this again, talking to my friend, the Trump guy, the new Trump guy. I told him, I said, well, I think the big problem with the Democratic Party is they're such a big tentpole party. When they do something for Black people specifically, they're not going to scream in front of the rooftops because they don't want to piss off their conservative guys. Or when they do something for the conservatives, they don't want to piss off the LGBTQ community. So because of that, they don't really say anything out loud that they do that has benefited one person, one community over the other. So, and Republicans, they only got one God to worship. You know what I mean? So they all have one message that's together and on point. Where Democrats don't have that because they such a big tempo. They have so many people to please, right? So with them having so many people to please, they haven't done a good job of talking about their record, talking about unemployment, talking about the economy. Like, there's no way you should have this tough a time beating somebody who took away Roe v. Wade, right? When you can talk about codifying Roe v. Wade, you can talk about what the economy was, because he's literally lying about the economy and Joe was not combating it. You know what I mean? Like, there's numbers and statistics that they're not using. But I do think this is where uh Vice President Harris as an orator is going to come in, because he's already setting up for him not to do the next debate. Like, he's already setting the groundwork. I don't know if you saw, he's tweeting out like, next debate was supposed to be on ABC with George Stephanopoulos. We know he's corrupt, and we want to try to do it on Fox, so I'm not gonna do it. So he's already setting up. He's already trying to set up the out, because one thing I know, she will tear him up in the debate.
Oh, wear that ass out. Now that's
She
when
will,
that east side is gonna be coming out. I'm gonna tell you that. Oh, she been in the cut waiting for a very
yeah,
long time. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. I was, I'm salivating. She
yeah.
might have to meet him on a corner.
Well,
You
I
know
was
what I'm
gonna
saying?
say,
Like run up on him.
if I was her, I'd be like, let's do Fox. Like, I tell your ass up no
Yeah,
matter where we are. Let's do it L Fox
exactly.
at Mar-a-Lago, ho. Like,
With
I don't, you know what I'm
with
saying?
flip flops and off, are
Right.
we? Okay, we go
Like,
however you wants to. All
yeah,
right. You want
I
some
think
strippers? We could bring them too.
so. I think that's where her strength will come in, right? Is
Yeah.
because I think she can articulate the record, but she can also prosecute the case against Trump in front
Right.
of Trump. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, she had
Mm-hmm.
a great ad when she was running the first time where she was like, I prosecute predators. He is a predator. I prosecute for profit colleges. He is a for profit like, she needs to bring that back. Like, that
Mm-hmm.
vibe when she
Mm-hmm.
was showing she's the
Mm-hmm.
anti-Trump,
Mm-hmm.
but she was showing it with her record. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? She wasn't
Mm-hmm.
just showing it like, he's bad, he's bad. She was saying, I'm going to do this. This is what I do. And when
Mm-hmm.
she used to run her or her I forgot what they're called, but when she used to be on the Hill in Congress and she used to be
Mm-hmm.
tearing folks up, she needs to go back to that. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, she needs to go back to East Side Harris. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
Eastside Harris, where you
You
at?
go
Yeah,
to East out here.
exactly.
And another thing she's gonna have to combat, because a lot of people have been saying, like, she's not from the Black culture. She's not of the culture. So stop saying we need to vote for a Black woman, because she's not a Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
So she's gonna have to address that, and she's gonna have to
Mm-hmm.
get all her AKAs to come out and be like, nah, she be with us. She be rolling with it. You know what I mean? Cause, like, yeah, that, like, she's gonna have to utilize everything in her tool belt to win. And I was telling somebody, the next thing is, the strategy of the Democratic Party going forward is going to have to be impeccable in
Mm-hmm.
order to overcome all the obstacles that are going to be put before them, only having 105 days
Mm-hmm.
before the election. They're going to have impeccable strategy going forward in regards to getting all the people back under the tent who were, a lot of non-decided voters did not like what Trump did at the RNC.
Mm-hmm.
So they still out there. So you
Mm-hmm.
can get a lot of those undecided voters, but what you're gonna have to make a decision is, do I want to go get those younger voters and those undecided voters? Because if I do, I'm
Mm-hmm.
probably gonna have to let go a lot of those conservative Democrats who aren't
Mm-hmm.
our biggest block anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But you're
Mm-hmm.
probably gonna have to make a decision. Do I want to get some of the younger voters? Do I want to go after, and to your point earlier, if you're going to go after the younger voters, you are 100% going to have to answer for the way Gaza is being handled right now,
Oh yeah.
because that is one of their biggest, concerns of this election.
Right. I mean, there's a quite a few things not I yeah, I think in my opinion that Kamala really has to work through and work out of if she is going to be a more holistically palatable candidate. If we just kind of sum up, just not her, but just even the Biden campaign, it wasn't necessarily, for me, it was a lackluster campaign, the first one. And it was kind of like, well, this is the only thing we have right now to kind of defeat blah blah blah. And you remember when he won, he said, "Oh, I black people, I'm going to put it down for you," and da 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 da. And then somewhere between this and now, Kamala kind of like was there but not there.
Oh yeah, they put her in the
So,
back. They put baby in the corner. They put
oh
baby in the corner for a very long time.
yeah.
Oh, and this is another thing that she's gonna have to answer for, which she should have a great answer for it. And again, this is what I talk about when I say Democratic messaging is trash, because Republicans can push their lies better than Democrats can push their truths, right?
Mm.
Don't tell no lies about me. I won't tell
Don't
no
tell no
truth
truth
about
about you.
you. You know what I'm saying?
Also, you
But
say sometimes she got to pop out and show. Okay.
she gotta pop up because they're gonna go after very hard with immigration.
Oh, yes.
But what she can say
Woo.
is,
Mm-hmm.
we had a bipartisan, sensible immigration bill ready to go, and Trump told the Republicans not to vote it in because he wants that to be what he gets to vote in. So
Well,
he put himself above the American people, and that has to be the message. Like, we did it. We worked on immigration, and the Republicans struck it down. They didn't want it. We worked on student loans and all loan forgiveness. Republicans struck that down, which is
and
for
they're
you
suing,
folk
and sued. Yeah, the
and sued. And
administration.
for you people
Mm-hmm.
fighting about that damn stimulus check, those student loans would have amounted to way more than that stimulus check for a lot of black folks. So she
Mm-hmm.
has to talk about that, and she has to talk about, we trying to give this money to these black farmers, and the Republicans sued. You have to talk about the things that you were doing, that you put out there, that you put your neck on the line for, that the Republicans either tried to stop, they sued, or tried to deem unconstitutional. You have to talk about those things.
Right. I mean, and honestly, that's a really good point because, I mean, not only did the Republican Party stop the money for black farmers, but for all farmers, because the farm bill is still stuck somewhere, waiting to
Mm-hmm.
be passed. So
Right.
that is a strategy and a tactic that has been used. Okay, well, the second half of the Biden presidency, we're going to halt as much legislation as possible in order to create this idea that the Biden administration is not doing anything and
Yes.
putting, Americans, or stymieing their economic, or their ability to have some kind of economic stability. So that is definitely a tactic. She has a lot to play with, and she has a lot to stand on. But I'm really interested to see exactly who she is, because she's been so much in the corner and
Yeah.
somewhere in the background, and has been the shadow in a lot of ways, even though there are these moments where she's presented herself like the homegirl in a way. It
Yeah.
is, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not saying I'm like the quintessential homegirl and the
Right.
homegirlologist of it, but it comes
But you
off.
are. But you
Thank you,
are.
thank you.
But you
but
are.
but she come off corny, you know what I'm
She
saying?
do.
Like,
No,
I
no.
would,
Yeah.
you know that dude in the hood that's a weirdo,
From
him.
from the IE.
Yeah, from the
Sorry to my IE folks, but yeah, from the IE. The IE dude who come down to his cousin's house for the
yeah,
weekend.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Come hang with his
That's
cousins for the
Kamala.
weekend.
Kamala from the IE. Well, no, yeah. Now that's a very good point. I'm glad. But no, I'm talking about the other person who actually is from, Compton. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere over there, off of Main or Central, or McKinley Avenue. And it's like, what I'm saying, different. But if you mess with him, he gonna bang hard on you.
He gonna jump raw. Yeah.
But everybody understood that, he off, or he got his own little thing, and we
Right.
cool with that. If Kamala just is like that,
Like, leans into that.
yeah, we would, because she's like the awkward black girl in a lot of ways. So, if she just be, and this is one thing, even though, like, white people, as we saw with Trump, they vote emotionally too, as
Yes,
well.
absolutely. 100%.
But I have been kind of like in this thought about what is it about us as black folk and how we vote in politics, We're very much about kind of like this organic. I don't want to say use the word authentic, but if you're not coming off as an organic person, it
We see
can,
through it. We see through it.
yes, it's
We
like,
see through
that
that.
don't smell right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why, in the first thing, I don't know, a lot of old mamas in the church was like, that Kamala girl, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Something don't smell right. And I believe that's because the organic Kamala needs to see. I say her name still like how we say it, Kamala. But
Yeah.
is it Kamala or Kamala? No, we were calling her Kamala, but her name is Kamala.
Camera.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that needs to, whatever that is, that needs to shine through. You
Yeah, for
know,
sure.
hey, look, hey, if she was out there in them streets, okay, it's all
Let us
good.
know. Yeah,
You
let us
know,
know if you was really out here in
you
these.
know, Montel Jordan and whoever.
Yeah, if you really out here ski weeing, you know what I'm saying?
Ski
Let them know.
weekend.
Go pull them all out. Pull them all out and let them know what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes, yes. So we are going to be watching. This is a very interesting presidential campaign. However, we have a lot more to talk about in terms of these upcoming elections in the state of the country. I was actually out of the country this earlier this month, and let me tell you, I was in South America. Let me tell you, the world is like, oh my gosh, what is going on?
Oh yeah.
What is they are looking at us like, I cannot believe
I said this is
this
the
is
longest episode of Scandal I've ever seen. Scandal ain't been this good in a while.
it ain't been this good. I mean, it is. I mean, it is definitely hot and juicy, but the reality
Yeah.
is that there are real lives, jobs, and everything. This is just a little side note in terms of like, what I'm hearing in the challenge channels. People already kind of like, easing their way out of these federal jobs and all these jobs because
Yeah. Oh
it's about
yeah.
to get rough, rugged, and raw,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
people don't know where their alliances are or their next check is going to be.
Yeah.
So they're quietly, exiting. And today they're grilling right now the Secret Service director about the Trump assassination. So like you said, this scandal, like there's so many different allegiances and factions.
That Trump assassination that was produced by Tubi. That okay. My bad.
I was calling it a bad Nollywood movie, my damn self. But
That one? Okay.
you got me hot and sweating up in here. Well, you know what, Dave? It's so good to talk to you. We be talking to you whenever you can pop in and pop out and
No,
show us.
I'm here. I'm back, y'all. I'm back, especially for the election cycle. And before we go to, I want y'all to, if you get a chance, go check out um Shapiro in Pennsylvania and Mark Kelly in Arizona because those two might be the VP picks. I think Pennsylvania getting Shapiro will be the smart move because it helps you get a swing state that you severely need right now.
Woo! Mm.
But Mark Kelly is a good look too because his wife, had been shot and, he still was able to serve because she used to serve. So that's a
But
good
also Arizona is a huge
uh, uh,
battleground for Roe
uh,
v.
uh,
Wade. So that is going to be really interesting. Who else do you think we should be checking out? Just those two?
no, there's a couple of others, but I haven't vetted them for myself, so I don't want to talk about them yet. There's a
Mm-hmm.
couple of others. I think there was a congressman in Virginia, but I don't think that guy's gonna make it. There's like a short list. I'll find the short list. There's like a short list of like 5 people who
Okay.
is looking like, well,
What about Gavin Newsom?
no, a double California ticket is not gonna happen.
Oh yeah,
Now,
yeah, yeah. I forgot. Yeah, the. Mm-hmm.
double California ticket. No, and so
Mm-hmm.
she needs somebody that's going to help her secure Middle America, Rural America, the Bible Belt. So she's gonna have to go get, like I said, one of them Arizona guys, one of the Pennsylvania guys, a Wisconsin guy. Of course, it got to be a white man.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
do think if Gavin Newsom, and I know this is a conversation for another day, maybe, but if Gavin Newsom was top ticket, I think he would kick Trump's ass.
Wow, interesting.
If
Well,
Gavin Newsom was
he
top,
was the one, he was on the top of the list when there was conversation about, and I believe that's why kind of like Obama,
that's who
Nancy
I think they
Pelosi, and
want. That's
Schumer,
yep.
that's who I believe they wanted. Yeah. So that's why
But
I
I
think
think
they've
that's
been
why
in
he came out so
conversation.
fast. He came out so fast and endorsed her because he said a long time ago I wouldn't step over Kamala. He said a long time ago. And you know what's funny? And we just talking about the Democrats shooting themselves in the foot, man. You know that Biden was supposed to run the year that um, Clinton ran, and
Really?
yeah, Biden was supposed to run, and everybody told him it's her turn, let her run. She,
Oh, and she
Biden,
lost.
and she lost. Biden would have kicked Trump's butt because that was coming right off of Barack Obama's
Yeah.
presidency.
Oh, all day, every day.
So when I talk about them just
Oh,
like making bad decisions and bad strategy, like when I say the
yeah.
strategy is going to be very important, I'm like, there's no way you should not have let the vice president coming off such a great presidency, coming out of an economic win, coming out of the
Hmm.
deficit, like all the things he could have ran on, he would have won with ease. And then you probably could have, you know, he would have did his 8 years, and then it could have been Hillary or Kamala, and that, you know what I mean? But
Hmm.
so that changed everything because him waiting in 4 years, he was too old. It took a lot, took those 4 years took a lot out of him. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
So,
As
so that's why I say,
presidencies do.
yeah,
Presidencies are very brutal.
yeah.
You know, you
You
remember
see
when
what
Obama
Barack looked
got,
like?
yeah,
Yeah, he
exactly.
had
I was
black
about to
hair.
say, yeah, like he had white hair within like 6 months of
Yeah,
his presidency. I also want to say this too. There actually is, not actually, that it is, but there is a faction of the Democratic Party who's like, it's a wrap. We're now just looking at 2028,
yeah,
as well.
yeah, for sure.
So I wanted to, mention that in all of this, but I think it's a, the political junkie, and I think both of us are looking really to see how this 44,000 plus Black women who were on a call last night. I would really want to see what that looks like and what it is going to turn into, because this really is like, let's see what you're working at. This is a sugar or shit situation.
Well, I think she has a chance to re-energize the party. So it's just going to depend on, how she, like you said, how she moves going forward. I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep, how she,
That's
it's
all right.
the
Oh,
sun or
that's all
something.
right.
Yeah, how she moves going forward is going to depend on how she mobilizes and gets the party in tow with her. And like you said, if she can get past that awkwardness and get people to be like, all right, I F's with it, and if they can get her to vote on policy, this is crazy. If they can get her to vote
Oh
on
God.
policy, she should be good. Like I said, I was shocked that she raised that much money that fast. I was shocked that that many people came on endorsed her, and I was shocked that she's starting to get some of those Nikki Haley voters, which is big because that means that's a lot of white women.
Oh yeah. Most definitely. Yeah, I think gender politics are going to be very interesting in what they're looking like with this. And what we're seeing is there are maybe a couple of pockets of sleeping giants in
Yes,
this race that we're going to
yes,
see emerge.
yes.
And we're going to really kind of understand how these policies that have been passed or those that have been blocked have really impacted these American folk. Now, what a lot of people might not understand is that the establishment or the powers that be, whoever they are, ultimately really don't like to see activated voters. Because activated voters, one, it puts that foot on your neck in
They
terms
gotta
of you
work.
got to you got to work
Gotta
for the
work.
vote and you got to work for the voter afterwards. But also, it's been quite a while where maybe voters can see that the fruits of their voting labors,
Right,
right?
right, right.
So this is a time where you can test that out, and it could just be a local level, because the truth of the matter is, whoever gets in office, if your local folk got you, you good.
Yep, yep. Forever,
And
as we see.
when is Maxine Waters gonna step down? Okay, anyway.
We need to do a whole show about that because I think she needs to. Anyway, yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, all right, Dave. I'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you.